So the private Federal Reserve teamed up with the government, has basically destroyed the dollar, devalued it. They're monetizing 70% of the debt. That means Weimar Republic, Zimbabwe, Argentina. And if you go back to 1933, they do not want to compete with gold and silver. And as gold and silver continues its meteoric rise, they have been trying to demonize it. They've been trying to manipulate the market. They're now failing against the laws of economics. And we are just steamrolling into this crisis. The very banksters that engineered this are now going to pose as our saviors and try to bring in even more controlled economies as the answer, which never works. It works for them, not for the general public. Peter, how do we defeat these people?
Well, ultimately, they're going to defeat themselves because the whole economy is going to collapse around them. We have to make sure that they get the blame for it, that central banking and central government planning gets the blame. All we've had is repeated doses of government stimulus. The stimulus is the problem. The stimulus is toxic. That's why the country is so sick. And we're not going to solve our problems with government stimulus. We can't solve them until the government stops stimulating. The problem is they never will, because they don't have the political courage to take away the punch bowl. Because in order to get better, we have to swallow some bitter-tasting medicine. We have to recognize that our economy is all screwed up. We got too many people working for government, too many people working in the service sector, not enough people manufacturing and producing. We got too many regulations. We got too much rules. We don't have enough savings. A lot of things have to change. And during that transition, you know, there's going to be winners and losers. And the politicians don't want that, because a lot of the losers are the ones that are voting these politicians into office. So they're just going to continue to pretend that they can make everything better with a magic wand, that all we need is to print some more money, to have some more spending and more stimulus, and we'll solve these problems. We're going to overdose on government stimulus. They're going to kill this economy. And we're witnessing the beginnings of it right now. I mean, gold wouldn't be up $19 an ounce. Silver wouldn't be up almost 70 cents today if what they were doing was working.
Now, are you concerned about this government shutdown, the Democrats trying to hold people hostage if they don't increase spending?
Now, I'm concerned that it won't shut down. I mean, a government shutdown is the best thing that could happen to us, because if the government doesn't shut down, then the country's going to shut down. The only way to save the country is to shut down the government and force spending cuts. I mean, we have a $1.6 trillion budget deficit for this year, and these clowns are arguing over whether we should cut that by $30 billion or $60 billion. That's peanuts. I mean, that's not going to do anything. The Republicans need to argue for real, meaningful cuts in government spending, because now, even if they get what they want, it's meaningless. The whole economy is still going to collapse.
Exactly. If we don't say no to the too big to fail derivatives model, then everything else is just academic. But expanding finally on that, to be clear about my point, just like in October of 2008, the Treasury and Fed held the country hostage, talked down the economy to cause that huge plunge to then get their bailout. I'm saying they're going to try to use a government shutdown as a way to hold us hostage to go along with the expanding debt.
Well, they're not going to shut the government down. They're going to make a lot of noise, and at the end of the day, they're going to raise the debt ceiling yet again, and they're going to spend more money because they can do it. And as long as the Chinese are lending to us, and the Japanese and the Saudis, we're going to keep borrowing. And as long as Ben Bernanke is printing, we're going to keep spending, and then until the whole thing falls off the edge of a cliff. And nobody wants to acknowledge that what we need to do is raise interest rates, tighten up on credit, because nobody wants to go through the fact that, well, that's going to bring down the stock market. That's going to cause housing prices to fall. They have to fall. Housing prices are too high. And the consequence of trying to artificially prop them up with cheap credit is that we destroy the currency, and we inflict far greater damage and far greater losses across the country than if we simply let housing prices fall to their natural level.
Well, bottom line, we're in a battle to get the truth out, because if we don't, the system's going to use these crises to expand their model of vertical integration with the mega corporations teamed up with government. Peter-Schiff, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to speaking to you in the near future.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet. We'll be right back.